Imagine being segregated simply because of your identity. Imagine being labeled with a symbol, not being allowed to own your own business, being sent to a separate school, and having a set legal curfew. These were all anti-Jewish regulations enforced by the Nazis. When the Nazi Party became the leading political force in Germany, Adolf Hitler led the party, gaining control over Germany's government in 1933. Nazis occupied territory after territory in Europe, now known and separated as 35 different European countries. Now, imagine being sent to your death just because of your identity. This was reality just 80 years ago. This was reality for over 1 million Jewish children, 2 million women, and 3 million men. The Holocaust was the organized mass murder of 6 million during World War II. Organized work camps and concentration camps were developed, where victims were sent to work in harsh conditions, starve, and die, either due to infections and disease or deliberate murder. I was one of these victims. My name is Anne Frank. I was born June 12, 1929, in Frankfurt, Germany, and raised by my papa, Otto Frank, a businessman. I call him Pim. And my mommy was Edith Frank. My older sister was Margot. Once the Nazis invaded Germany in 1933, I was too little to know what was happening, but my family had no choice but to flee. Mummy and Pim took us to the Netherlands, but 7 years later, in May of 1940, the Netherlands were invaded as well. My sister Margot was summoned to a concentration camp in Germany in July of 1942. We were scared and helpless. I was 13 years old, and my family was forced to go into hiding. Pim secretly kept ownership of the manager position of a jam manufacturing company, and my family hid in the back of the business building for 2 years. We never once stepped outside. It was dark. It was damp. I yearned for a full amount of daylight, for the sun's rays to hit my face, to warm me inside and out, to comfort me. I reached the point where I could hardly care whether I lived or died. I knew the world would keep on turning without me, and I couldn't do anything to change the events. On August 4th, 1944, my family was found. A German police officer and 4 Nazis stormed in and arrested us and sent us to Westerbork concentration camp in the Netherlands. In early September, we were transferred to Auschwitz, the largest camp of its kind, where the men were separated from the women. I saw daughters, sisters, wives, torn from their fathers, brothers, and husbands. Then it was our turn. September 3rd, 1944, was the last time Mummy, Margot, and I saw Pim. We were torn apart, and we cried and cried until we ran out of tears. Even so, I never stopped crying on the inside. Several months later, Margot and I were forced to separate from Mummy. Everything forcefully was taken from me. I had no home. I had no choice. I had no father with me. I had no mum with me. I wanted my life back again. I was weak. I was ill. My sister and I were sent to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. Food was scarce and took on the worth of gold. Sanitation? Non-existent. This was apparent by the awful odor of the facilities. Both Margot and I became very sick and came down with typhus, a bacterial disease. I was just 15 when I died in early March 1945. Margot died of typhus as well. For my 13th birthday, I was given a diary. I wrote in it often. When I write, I can shake off all of my cares. I kept my diary close and confided in it during difficult, hopeless, dark times. It was translated to English in 1952 and has continued to be translated and shared around the world. It's now an open book and published as The Diary of a Young Girl. My freedom was taken away. My life was taken from me, but I had my diary. My soul and my spirit lives on forever in the pages and the entries I made. July 15th, 1944. It's a wonder I haven't abandoned all my ideals. They seem so absurd and impractical, yet I cling to them because I still believe, in spite of everything, that people are truly good at heart. It's utterly impossible for me to build my life on a foundation of chaos, suffering, and death. I see the world being slowly transformed into a wilderness. I hear the approaching thunder that one day will destroy us too. I feel the suffering of millions. And yet, when I look up at the sky, I somehow feel that everything will change for the better, that this cruelty, too, shall end, that peace and tranquility will return once more.